Hi, welcome to Candid Chats on Cancer. I'm Mary Robinson.
And I'm Jamie Moore. Mary, this is a great episode. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a slicker in the studio.
Well, maybe it's a little chilly in here,
or
we have Emily Bollmeyer here from Omaha Fashion Week Cancer Survivor Show, and we were a part of that.
We were models, and this is what I modeled.
Yes.
During the show for Old Navy wear.
Mm-hmm. And I actually have to throw in there too, you're actually from Inner Beauty.
I am.
Yes, at the Methodist Estherbrook Cancer Center.
Yeah.
But it was for the fashion show.
Yes.
So tell us about it all. How did this all get started?
Well, the fashion show started in 2012. Lori Fuchs is the Inner Beauty program coordinator, and she started the fashion show with the Omaha Fashion Week founders, Nick and Brooke Hudson. So Lori knew Nick prior to this. They worked together, and he said, how can I help cancer patients? How can I help the cancer community? And she said, well, how about a fashion show? So then she recruited about 40 models that first year, and they had it at the Kaneko, built the area downtown in the Old Market.
Yeah.
It was a big tent outside, and just 40 models, and then the next year, it about doubled, and then some in size for as many models as there were, and they added more boutiques. Lori started a committee, and it's just grown ever since.
Yeah.
Wow. How many do you have at this point?
Well, this year I believe we had about 134 models. We always start with more than that.
Wow.
It seemed like a lot.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people backstage.
There
In fact,
are.
we got to talk to Lori backstage.
Yeah.
And did a little interview with her.
That's great.
We're here with Inner Beauty. This is Lori Fuchs, and she's going to tell you about what we're doing tonight.
We're here for the Omaha Fashion Week Cancer Survivor Style Show, and we have all ages of cancer survivors walking. Our youngest is 3 years old, our oldest is 81. All types of cancer, all sizes, and all ages.
Let's give our volunteer committee from the Inner Beauty Salon a big round of applause.
There's a lot of people out here and a lot of boutiques. I'm walking for the very first time, and it's so exciting. Why put yourself through all of this?
Well, one of the things that we're really passionate about, and the Omaha Fashion Week team as well, is to celebrate, these people that have gone through a really hard journey. Some of them are continuing, chemotherapy. They're walking. Some of them are coming from chemotherapy and walking the runway tonight. And others are, on chemotherapy the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And then others are post chemotherapy. And so we just want to celebrate them. It's just a night of survivorship. It's a night of encouragement and just kind of that victory march down the runway, if you will, to celebrate, their survivorship.
It really is. This is a great thing. We're so glad you're doing it. Thank you for inviting us too.
I'm so glad you came and that you're modeling this year. That's awesome.
I am modeling. So I have to go get on Old Navy. I'm doing Old Navy this year.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank
as
you.
always.
Thank you.
Yeah, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, Lori is just one of the most energetic people I think I've ever met.
I don't know how she gets all of her work done. I'm sure
I don't
all of her
either.
helpers, like you, of course. How do you
Yes.
recruit these models?
Well, it started with Lori just recruiting them by herself. Over the years, it's been word of mouth, models just like yourselves, letting each other know that the show's going on and that it'd be a fun thing to participate in. We have a lot of our healthcare providers at Methodist that help recruit models throughout the year, even leading up to it. Lori just asks for help wherever we can get it. We ask our own patients at Methodist. We see a lot of patients that end up becoming models, and it's not limited to just Methodist patients, but we do start there. So
Yeah, I was asked through Mary, I got emails, and you guys communicate so well.
Oh,
I mean, you really just let us know where we were going, where we were at in the process. It was so easy.
And it was efficient. I mean,
Very.
you just give them your size, your name, your phone number, and then pretty soon we get the boutique and call them. It's a really easy process.
Omaha Fashion Week helps a lot with that. They make it very easy on us. They set up a sign-up form that you just click on and you fill it out and get sent in, and then we can start pairing boutiques from there.
Yeah. What I thought was really fun was these age groups went from 3 or 4 or 5 to 70 or 80.
I think the youngest model we've ever had was 1 year old.
Yeah.
And she couldn't even walk. Her mom brought her out. She wasn't able to walk yet. She wasn't old enough, so her mom actually brought her out. And then the oldest, I want to say 92 or 93.
Yeah.
It's the oldest model we've ever had.
That's amazing. Jamie, that'll be us 1 year.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
I'll be like there was one of them, one of the models that I met that was, his name was Oliver. And he was just the greatest little thing. Because you look at me and he goes, "You look nervous."
He said that.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I kind of am. This is my first time. And he goes, "Don't worry about it. It's really easy."
Oh.
And he walked right out there in front of me, and I got to walk behind him, and he just strutted his stuff all the way around. It was just great. But yeah, it was fun to have. And he was, I think, turning 13. And he, through the whole show, every time we had to go back out there, he'd go, "Are you okay?" And he calmed me all down. And there were
I
just
love
the
it that
cutest.
the child is doing that.
Yeah.
It must have been, he's done it a few times.
Years, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the thing, we found like there was several people that had done it since the beginning. Or I met one gentleman at Old Navy at the boutique when we were getting fitted, that he had done it, this was his 7th time.
Yeah, this is the 8th year, so that means he's done it 7 out of 8 times.
Yeah, he said there was only 5 guys the first time when he went. And there was a lot of guys this time.
There was
this
a lot
time.
more kids. We didn't used to have very many kids, but that Lori partnered with the people at Children's, the social worker over at Children's, and she recruited some kids. So
How do you get the boutiques?
well, Lori has personal relationships with a lot of the boutique reps, just friendships that she's gained over the years, and then we just reach out to places. I mean, when we say, we have this many women, this many sizes, we have a wide range of ages, sizes, and then there's male and female, so we have to make sure that we have the type of places that can accommodate them. So we just reach out, we just call them and say, "Hey, do you want to participate?" We've had several that have come year after year that have done it, and some that are new every year. We always have 1 or 2 new ones, so
That's nice.
How many did you have this year that participated?
How many models or how many
boutiques?
I want to say about 12 this year.
Wow. Now the day starts pretty early there too.
It does. That's one hard thing about
That was
it,
one
but-
nice thing about being a guy.
Yes.
Hair and makeup starts.
We start at 12:30.
12:30. But you don't have to show up at 12:30 because some people show up a little bit later. But
They're not supposed to.
Oh, okay. I was
That's
gonna
okay.
say.
That's okay. It ends up working out pretty well every year. I mean, we've kind of gotten it down now. We're really lucky to have volunteers from Zanon Academy. The teachers work really closely with us at Inner Beauty there, and then the students volunteer their time. They just say, "Hey, I want to do hair and makeup." So we have a ton of students that help, and then a lot of professional hairstylists and makeup artists show up there.
And they were doing touch-ups and things there too. So if you wanted to get a little, if you were a guy and you wanted to get a little touch-up,
And yeah, we had a few that were after school too, you know, that couldn't get out of school, or some of them even come in from out of town, so they really can't get there at 12:30.
Yeah, we met one young girl that drives 5 hours to participate in the show.
Yes.
That's amazing that her parents are willing to do that.
Right.
That's love.
That's
Really, because I'm sure that I mean, those kids, especially those girls, they had those beautiful dresses on, and they were all dolled up. Who wouldn't want that?
I got Jet it was amazing how everything was. One of the things I thought was fun was there was a little one that I had to take, because I was a first-time model, I had to come to practice.
Oh yes, there's a rehearsal.
So you had to
That's
go to
part of the reason the day starts so early.
Yeah.
Got to get that rehearsal in before the
And
show
I will
starts.
say, I only did the rehearsal the first year, and then after that, I had it down
You're
enough.
comfortable.
I felt like, you know, if I need a little walk in time, I could do it right before the show.
Well, during the rehearsal, there was this little one. He was probably, I don't know, I mean, really little. And he had just refused. He was not going to do it. But during the show, when he walked out on that stage and everybody was clapping for him, he was just the greatest. He walked up that stage just like he owned it.
Like he owned the place, yep.
That's great.
And he owned it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, they had to chase him. They had to chase him down. He
And
was
he
not
was
going to
just-
get off that stage.
He was just as happy as can be too. And that was what I thought was great, was how each participant or each of the models, it didn't matter who, what your sickness was or where you're at in your sickness. Everybody in the crowd clapped like it was Super Bowl Sunday for each person.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
That's amazing. It really is quite a celebration.
And then also, like, you mentioned volunteers. So how do you rope in all these volunteers? Do you start the day after this show? You start for the next year, or?
Yes, well, we've been lucky enough to have so many people that volunteer every year. We have over 100 volunteers if you include all the hair and makeup people. Lori has a lot of friends that she brings in that help out the day of, just getting everything ready. There's so much organization that goes into it. So
I'm sure.
We even have a couple of committee members that are survivors that they no longer model in the show. They've kind of taken a back seat on that, but they come and they help with all the preparation, and they help the day of. Omaha Fashion Week has their own team, so there's tons. All those people you saw backstage, most of them were Omaha Fashion Week volunteers as well. So.
And they were great.
We keep busy.
They were great. And they treated
are.
us very well and helped us get set up and everything. And Lori, and I just can't say enough about what we did. I mean, that is one. I think this is probably one of the greatest programs I've ever participated in.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you were able to participate.
Like, what do you feel that it means for you guys putting this, you know, out for everybody? How do you think that the others feel about it, the survivors? What feedback do you get?
Well, you know, I had an email from a gal this year that this was her first year participating, and the infusion nurses over in the cancer center actually recruited her. They thought you'd be so great at this, and she kind of was hesitant about it. She wasn't sure she'd want to do it. She was going through treatment, which a lot of our models are going through treatment. They come from chemo that day. And she was a little hesitant. Well, she came in recently. First she emailed me, and then she came in and said, "Thank you so much. I had so much fun. It was so rewarding." And that's why we do it. It's just, it makes you feel like you're doing something good for people who really need that survivorship and that celebration of life. So it's truly very rewarding.
You know, for me, it really helped because I had to go back on chemo. So
you did. Right
before the fashion show, it was my 3rd round of chemo. And I just really didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I'm not, as Mary can tell you, I'm not all that sociable anyway. And so I just didn't really want to go. But then when you got there, oh my God.
It's so fun, isn't it?
It was hard to feel sick. I mean, you could not feel sick that day. I didn't see a single person that, in the group that I was with, they were just all happy, pink, and healthy. And
you would never know.
No, you wouldn't. No, the little ones that were that helped me through the show, you would have never known they were sick. Or one gentleman I talked to had chemo the day before. I at least had like 3 or 4 days before the show. He had just had chemo. But yet he was just
there.
He was there, and he was all for it, and he was just like, this is so much fun.
It makes you forget about it. And I actually, since I've done it a few years, I actually, keep in touch with the models that have been there in past years. And sometimes I don't see them until then, but we always connect, and then we always text each other our pictures and all that. And
that's so
and it's
great.
just fun because you're like, yes, we made it another year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a happy time.
That's amazing.
One of the girls that we've had on the show, Angie, was there, and it was her first year modeling too.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of neat. We were walking in, and I was trying to figure out where to go and what to be. She goes, Jamie, and she just looks so good. I mean, she
she's
just
beautiful.
looks just was so healthy looking. And so we sat together during the rehearsal. And so it was nice, to even just meet other people. But I didn't meet a person there that was unhappy.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right?
That's what it's
Making
all about.
somebody feel wonderful
Yeah.
and good about
Worth it
themselves.
when you see the smiles on the faces of the survivors, for sure.
Yeah.
And so now we could say we're models.
You're models. Yeah, that's what we
Who
call
would've
you.
ever
Check
guessed?
that off the bucket list.
We just call you models. We don't even call it. We don't
Yeah.
call you patients. You are models that day.
exactly.
If I would have only known, I could have had cancer earlier. And I might have had a modeling career.
Nobody wants cancer though, right?
No.
So what does it mean for you at Inner Beauty to put this on for everybody? I know that you had mentioned, it's just great to make somebody's day and whatnot, but I'm sure there's even more to that.
Well, it helps us meet others too. I mean, get in contact with other healthcare providers so we can refer patients. One of the main things is that the first row of the entire audience is healthcare providers and nurses and social workers and just people that have been involved in these survivors' lives, and it really helps us with our networking as well.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right.
Which that does remind me, Jamie, because I did go to Methodist the first time I had the cancer battle, and there were a lot of Methodist nurses there and staff that I recognized because I was in the hospital for long periods, and I just loved it that afterwards they came up and they remembered me.
They remember you, yeah?
Yes, and I got hugs, and it was just really, really nice to see them in a different atmosphere.
Yes, and they love coming. I mean, they
I'm
really do.
sure.
We have fights over who gets the tickets. We really do. So we have to make sure that the right people are there to cheer the survivors on.
It's great.
My wife, she was got there early with me, and so she was walking through the chairs, and on the chairs were the little packets of Kleenex. And she goes, I wonder what these are for.
Oh.
And I said, well, it's probably one of the sponsors, is sponsoring and giving everybody Kleenex. And after the show, she came up to me, she goes, I know what that Kleenex was for.
Oh.
She goes, it was like the first 2 minutes of the first 4 or 5 miles that came out, she goes, I had ripped open the thing. She goes, her purse was full of tissues.
Oh.
So it wasn't just the survivors, but it was
For the caregivers
and family
and
members.
friends.
Yes.
My wife never thought I would ever be on a runway model, but she had just gone through a horrific 2 years with my cancer. And so for her, this was just one of the great, and they had wine there.
Oh, that always makes it good, right?
That always makes it pretty great.
I heard they had really good food.
They do. They always
partake
have good
in it.
food. They have different caterers, it seems like, every year, but it's always really good food.
Yeah, I know my husband had some because he's like, Mary, do you want some? But I was kind of nervous. I don't know why I get nervous every year, but once I'm up there, I'm fine.
It's a lot of cameras.
I love when you walk the runway, you're coming down, and what was the boutique that you had on?
Bliss.
Bliss?
Bliss Boutique.
About halfway down the runway, you do this little shimmy.
Oh yeah, woo! I was all wound up.
Good.
I get a
You
little.
were blowing kisses to the crowd and stuff.
Yeah, you didn't seem one bit nervous.
Well, I told you, I get over it after a while. It's funny, you're actually wearing the outfit that you got from your Old Navy, right?
Sunday Fun
I
Day.
have Old Navy on, and after the show, they offered that we could buy the product from them.
Oh, nice.
And I haven't had a spring jacket probably in 20 years, and so I'm like, okay. And then it was like,
Didn't know you
wow,
needed one,
I could use a
Great.
new pair of jeans, and everything they did, they put me in, and one made me feel younger. it was, you know, they didn't dress me in old man wear.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of fun too. So yeah, when it was all over with, the girls offered, I think they gave me a huge percentage off. I think it was 10 or 20%.
That's good.
I think I was
I'm
offered
glad.
20% as
Were
well.
ya?
I believe
Oh,
all
good.
I've always been offered a percentage off, and I believe all the boutiques do that.
I think a lot of them
Yeah.
do, yeah. I think a lot of them
That's
do.
kind of a cool thing too, because
is.
cancer people, it's not like we go to the mall every weekend to,
Right.
you know, get new
When you don't even know these
clothes.
places exist. Some of them, I mean, like Bliss,
Right.
you know, a lot of people
Yeah, I
don't even
didn't
know,
know
it exists.
I didn't know it
So-
existed, so it was really nice, and they were so kind. And one thing that I really love too is the fact that, well, actually, I lost my train of thought, Jamie.
Well,
Sorry.
I love the fact that
It's all right.
it was that you made everybody
get
feel
to.
comfortable.
Yes.
Well, that's
From
good. I'm glad to hear
the
it.
models,
So we
you
don't
know,
get to talk
and
about
even the organization backstage. Oh my God, it was like very organized chaos.
It is. It's chaos.
Because you got
No matter
all the
how
different
much you
boutiques
organize.
coming and going. You got all of us coming in and getting our clothes. You know, it's kind of like with you know, if the viewers have noticed that in the interview with Lori that I was just dressed, you know, with a, I don't know, fleece on and
Yeah.
blue jeans, and so we have to also get dressed backstage.
You have to get dressed,
and
yes.
everything,
And they're
too.
used to models who are back there getting dressed every night. They get dressed in 2 seconds and it's quick, quick, quick. But it's not the same for the Cancer Survivor show. It's very different, but
Yeah.
they accommodate. And I don't know if you guys even knew this, but during the day we had the crew from Omaha Fashion Week called and said, hey, tell everyone to come in a different door. Because
Yes.
the door that
I
you were
did know
supposed
that.
to come in,
'Cause
it was so
going
cold. It was just freezing that day, and I don't think they expected that. So they added a bunch of heaters back there. We tried to get everyone
Yeah.
to come in
that's
a
really
different
nice.
door. They added a bunch of heaters, and then we walked back there, and it was really hot.
Yeah.
I
were
didn't
like,
notice that it was
"Oh,
hot,
no."
but Jamie and I
Neither.
like it when it's
Okay,
warm.
good. Well, I'm glad you didn't notice
There
it being
wasn't
too
there
hot.
wasn't a single model in the back that was complaining that it
Oh,
was
good.
warm.
Good, 'cause we
Exactly.
were afraid of chemo flashes.
No,
with-
we were
with patients back
out-
there that were going through chemo.
Actually, no, I was sitting next
I
to a
didn't
lady
even
that was having a
notice.
hot flash though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't a chemo flash she was having. She was menopausal and having a hot flash. She was great too.
Yeah, I truly didn't notice anything.
That's good, yeah.
And I didn't hear any complaints from anybody
Yeah.
either.
So how can we get involved, or how can people get involved in this next year?
Just contact us. Contact you guys. You guys have the information. Contact Methodist.
Okay.
And
Inner
actually,
Beauty.
we have a website.
We do. The website is a Harper's Hope website.
Right.
We don't have a website for the actual Cancer Survivor show, but Omaha Fashion Week does.
Okay.
So if you go to the Omaha Fashion Week page, there's a link to the Survivor show where you would purchase tickets. But you can always contact us at Inner Beauty at the Methodist Estabrook Cancer Center.
That's wonderful. And you guys, they do so much more than just the Omaha Fashion Week
Inner
Cancer
Beauty
Survivor
is,
show. You do
yeah.
so much.
The
And
things at Methodists are amazing.
Yeah.
They really are.
in fact, Emily came to my room when I was in there, and she gave me manicures. And oh gosh, I don't know. That's how we.
What year was that?
2014,
14,
and that's
that
how
was right
we
after I started,
connected.
yeah.
And I just want to thank you for that again, because she made me feel beautiful when I didn't feel so beautiful. So thank you.
And thank
for
you for
saying
making
that.
us all feel beautiful.
And we even had, I have to say this too, we even had a party when we tried on all my wigs. Because
We
she
did.
came to my room,
We
I was in
did.
isolation, and you
And your
came to
husband
my
was
room.
there?
I
Yes.
know, it was so much fun. I'll never forget that. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
you.
And thank you so much for everything. And we'll
Thank
see
you
you
for letting
next
me be a
year.
part of this.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
And join us again for another Candid Chats on Cancer.
Everybody be well.